is October 5th, 2017. And does anybody out there still believe that there was no motive behind the Las Vegas shooting? Does anybody, honest to God, seriously still believe or trust what the mainstream media is telling us? Or buy the government cover-up? This is the most obvious cover-up I've ever seen in my life. Even people in the mainstream. Grant Cardone, for example, was tweeting the other day. He's a business influencer. He has nothing to do with politics or conspiracies or anything like that. Actually tweeted, he's like, does anyone actually believe that this guy didn't have any help? Referring to Paddock. That this wasn't a pre-planned, engineered, coordinated hit job. Strategic attack. Operation. Inside job. Now, last night, some of you are probably already aware of this, an actual eyewitness account on the ground. She was shot at. She was a victim. An individual next to her was shot in the stomach, and she doesn't understand how the bullet was a direct hit. And she thinks, because again, this was just her own experience, she's an actual victim. Okay, she's not the mainstream media just telling you what they want you to believe. It's not the government telling you what they want you to believe. So she doesn't know how that person was shot directly. Heard two guns, and it sounded to her, this is just her, and she was there, she should know, right? Eyewitness account, eyes and ears, trust your eyes and your ears. Said that it sounded like there was a second gunman in the crowd, mowing people down to their death. Ritual sacrifice, I mentioned this earlier, right in front of a Masonic temple of darkness, Black Pyramid, the light shooting up in Las Vegas. You know, the Aztecs used to do that. They used to make these sacrifices to the gods. Maybe not a whole lot has changed. I'm going to play the audio to this. Listen to yourself. Don't listen to my words. Listen to yourself. There are so many inconsistencies about this story. What's on the note? What's on the note? Images have been released. Paddock left a note. I'll tell you, it'll tell us something if you'd release it to us. And if you do, who knows if they'll be telling us the truth. I guarantee there's some kind of motive there. At the very least, he's penning something to his girlfriend, who's probably also in on it, who, according to neighbors, was packing before she left the Philippines like she was moving her entire house. Not like she was going on a vacay for a week or two, but that she was packing her entire house and stacking stuff on top of her car. Let me actually read you that directly, so it's not my words, it's the actual evidence. I sent this to myself earlier. This is a neighbor of Paddock and his girlfriend, who went to the Philippines and was wired $100,000. She continued, quote, I thought the whole situation was even weirder when 2 weeks later I then look out of my window again to see Mary Lou stuffing her car, the girlfriend, stuffing her car full of all of her belongings. Quote, over the course of 3 or 4 days, it was like she was moving her entire life out of the house. She packed so much stuff, not only was her car full, but it was also tied to the top of her car. After a few days of packing, she too pulled out of the driveway and was never seen again. It was all very strange. End quote. She was literally packing stuff on top of her car. Who does that when you're going on a vacation? Nobody does. You do that when you're moving for good, when you're never to be seen again. Eyewitness account on the ground. Eyewitness. The mainstream media is still going to sell you this lie that there's no motive and that there was one killer. And it was all Paddock. Yeah, he was a genius, according to the mainstream media, although his brother's a complete idiot. How is that even possible? How could one brother be an absolute Einstein and the other one be a complete idiot? I mean, it sounds mean, but it's true. If you have any doubts about what I'm telling you, just watch the interview of the brother. And I did a video on this. It is the most bizarre, telling, explosive interview I've ever seen. And after you're done watching it, if you're not convinced that this was an inside job and the government's covering something up, then you too, this sounds crass, are probably an idiot. Because it is obvious for anybody with eyes to see. It is in plain sight. In plain sight. Again, the lights were turned on the crowd. They turned them off after everybody was shot and after Paddock had allegedly killed himself. Even though some reports report there was bullet casings on top of the body and on top of some of these images, which I don't know if I trust any of these images necessarily being released. Personally, I don't think they're going to release the real information to us, just like I don't think they haven't released anything yet on the note. Again, Paddock worked for one of America's largest defense contractors. He worked for them. That's where people like Snowden came from, right? Intelligence assets, agents, working for the dark state here in the United States. And then, he fled to Europe. Somehow he got out alive, and now he just hangs out with Vladimir Putin. Same thing with Paddock, government agent. Maybe, and I don't have this confirmed, I'm just throwing out ideas because again, it's very dangerous, but I think, and I'm not even that smart, maybe Paddock worked for the deep state. Maybe he was an, undercover FBI agent or something. Maybe he was running guns like Fast and Furious. That's factual, right? Fast and Furious is real. Bomb was running guns down to Mexico illegally to the drug cartel and these kinds of things. It cost Americans lives. Maybe he was involved in that. Maybe there was a cover-up. Maybe Paddock isn't even the shooter. Maybe ISIS was. Maybe that makes sense because there's another eyewitness account of a young girl who has no reason to lie. Again, these are just my own two eyes and my ears here, who said a Hispanic woman and another individual around 5 feet came to her at the concert and said, "You better get out, prepare to die. You're going to die." Still no explanation at all. Nothing. Interesting. So maybe Paddock wasn't even the shooter. Maybe it was ISIS. Who knows? Maybe the government and U.S. intelligence is so embarrassed and they're still trying to cover up this top secret operation that they just don't want to release the truth to us. Is that possible? I mean, the FBI does exist, folks, right? There are undercover agents. There are undercover intelligence assets, right? I mean, we can all agree with that. The whole idea that they're selling to you and us that there's no motive. They must think you're a total idiot. Of course, there's a motive. He targeted, or whoever perpetrated this heinous act targeted a conservative country music Western concert for a reason in front of a temple of darkness on the 32nd floor, 322. Come on, guys. This looked much more like a ritual sacrifice, a staged event, or at the very least, something that the U.S. government needs desperately to cover up, because you can't know the truth about this. Again, this is really, really embarrassing. Even mainliners, like I mentioned, Grant Cardone. Okay, he has no interest in conspiracies. He's just like, yeah, I don't buy it. He's just an above-average smart individual. See, if you can think for yourself, you know you're being fed total BS. Total BS. There are so many inconsistencies in this story. I have never been sure of anything more in my entire life. Now, let's listen to the survivor. You can listen to me with me. I'm going to turn up the volume. Again, not my words, folks. Just an eyewitness account. Eyewitness account.
We have a caller on the line who has been gracious enough to stay over. She's Gail. She's calling from Las Vegas on my affiliate KBET. She was actually shot at. She's not a late-night crybaby comedian making believe he knows what the hell he's talking about. She was shot at. She said she heard two different types of sounds, meaning two different types of guns. But worse than that, in terms of this investigation that's being covered up, she said She believes there was a man going through the crowd, shooting at people in the crowd. Gail, I don't want to put words in your mouth. Welcome back. Thanks for staying on the line. Please tell your story all over again to a brand new audience on the Savage Nation.
Okay. Well, when we were first there, we heard the popping of the sounds, and we thought it was a firecracker, you know. And it was only like, 3 or 4 pop, pop, pops. And then it got quiet, and then a couple more pop, 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 pops, and then it just started spraying. It just nonstop bullets shooting. So everybody started running, and we just ducked. My husband and I, we just went on the ground and froze. And I remember, there's a girl that was standing right next to me that was shot in the stomach, and she had a huge bullet wound in her stomach. It was huge. It wasn't a little tiny thing, and she was bleeding profusely. It was horrible, and the people were just freaking out, and so everybody ran, and we were just still staying there, and my husband said, we gotta go, we gotta run, we're gonna get shot. So we got up and we started running toward the vendor tents. They're the white plastic tents, and there was a Metro police officer that was out there, and he saw us running, and he said, come here, get here, and he grabbed me, and he pulled us inside the tent, and we went down, and the shots kept going and going, and then they would stop, and then we were like, okay, it's okay, it's all over, and then they would start all over again, and it seemed to me, and I'm not a pro on guns and bullets, anything, but there was like higher sounding bullets and then a really lower, deeper bullet. And as we were laying there, it sounded like the shots were getting closer to us. And I'm going, oh my God, we're going to get shot. They're going to see us in this tent. Because it seemed like somebody, I'm not saying this by any means, but to me, it sounded like somebody was actually walking from the crowd from west to east through the crowd and shooting, because everybody was going in one direction because there's no way out. And then they would stop, and then it would be like higher pitches and then no sound. So, and then the sound would start again, but they were on top of each other, it sounded. I was freaking out, obviously.
Well, hold on, you just said they would be on top of each other, meaning the higher sounding bullet and then the lower sounding, well, let's say.
Sorry, guys. This is Grindhouse. I'm just trying to step in real quick just to explain to you guys what I heard in my previous 2 videos. I've been saying I have better tech, so it's just not me putting my phone to the TV. Now it's actually doing it legitimately, getting a little crispy, a little better, little view of things, better video, faster uploads. But listen to how everybody even there is trying to tell you that there were more than 2 shooters. There were more than 2. There are like 3 to 4 shooters up in there. I'm serious. To shoot 15 minutes straight that we know of with a constant rate of ammo and it never stops. Dude, are you fucking crazy? You kidding me if you think there's not 3 shooters in there? Back to the video.
Sound of one gun higher, then lower, and they were coming at you at the same time?
Yes, they sounded at the same time, and the one that was lower kept getting closer sounding to us. And I'm thinking, your brain goes through all these images and thoughts, and I'm thinking, oh my God, it sounds like there's somebody on the ground that is shooting. And what was so bizarre about this is that Mandalay Bay was on our right. This creep was on the 32nd floor, and the girl that was standing right beside me, maybe 7-8 inches behind me, got shot straight in her stomach, right above her belly button. Now, how does a bullet come straight down and make a left turn and hit her in the stomach? And I don't.
Okay, this right here is so important. If you ever watch Dexter, when his sister gets shot, she says, dang, she goes to the Chinese guy. She's like, hey, how would it say if my shooter was 6 foot? How would the angle be past my torso? And he said that's impossible unless he was on his knees shooting at you. So with that, the shooter had to be at least 5 foot, 6 or 7 to get a shot directly on top of your navel area. and not in an angle. You have to be a short person on the ground to get that angle. That's what you learn from watching TV shows. If you don't believe me, watch the episode of Dexter when his sister gets shot, and they'll blatantly tell you how you get angles on gunshot wounds. And you'll be able to tell where the shooter is actually at, angled to a gunshot wound. So did Tony Sotomayor on my other video. Thank you.
I understand it.
Wait, hold on. I don't understand. So the hotel is on the right, but she got shot from the left?
She got shot straight in the center. We were facing due south. Mandalay.
So you were facing away from the hotel? Gail, I want to be clear. You were facing away from the hotel?
Our right shoulder would be facing Mandalay Bay.
Okay, on the right shoulder there's the hotel. Now your stomach is facing diagonal to that hotel. And you're saying the girl next to you was facing in the same direction as you and your husband?
Yes, we were both facing west. Direct.
Okay, so you're asking how could she get struck directly in her stomach from that direction when there was allegedly no shooter there?
Well, see, that's what's so bizarre, because I even thought that. Because how could a bullet be coming from our right, which was on our west? We're facing direct south. A bullet would have to come straight up and make a 90-degree left turn and go into her stomach.
Gail, has anyone from LA, Las Vegas Metro interviewed you?
Yeah, not from there, but I've had other interviews with like CBS, and I was.
Yeah, the day that they actually interviewed her, Michael Savage, the day she ended up missing with her fucking husband. Are you fucking kidding me? Lady, if you ever watch this video, which you probably never will, do not talk to the fucking police or no. Don't do it. You want to get black banned?
At the White House by Sarah Huckabee. You know,
Did you tell the story that you just told about two different sounds of two different sounding guns?
they seem south, yes.
No. Did you tell that? Did you tell what you just told my audience to the other folks who have interviewed you? Did you say that exact thing?
No, because no one asked me that.
Oh, no one asked you that. The conditions in the media didn't ask you that.
No.
A hot dog has a more analytical ability than most people in the media. Gail, listen to me. What you have just said on this program will make the news. I'm not going to divulge your name. I don't want you to be exposed to this. Frankly, if I were you, Gail, I would not give any more interviews. Listen to me very carefully, Gail.
Yes, sir.
Please do not give any more interviews. Do not divulge your name. Disappear into the night, Gail.
Well, they're finding me. I don't know how, but I haven't given any interviews except...
Okay, so you just heard that for yourself. Another shooter on the ground. Multiple shooters. Now, I think Mr. Savage did a really good job and gave her good advice, too. Disappear into the night.
Yeah, me too, because I've never seen this. This is the first time I've seen this video. Christopher is mad cool with me, so he always allows me to put his videos on my channel without getting the copyright violations. And, yeah. I just said the same thing. Lady, you better disappear into the night. You do not know what you fucking with. And if you own here and you ain't big like this dude, which something eventually will happen to him, you better hide your face, man. Don't be on this shit talking about shit like this with your face all like ain't nothing ever going to happen to you. Are you fuck boy, chum boy crazy?
You don't want this information to get out. Now, I took a note. Isn't it interesting? It kind of makes sense, too, right? That this guy'd be a government agent. I mean, think about it. He's so reclusive. Nobody knows him. He's so private. He allegedly has all this money, all this wealth. Are we to believe it just came from gambling? Video poker. That's it. That's where he got all of his money, all of his guns, his giant safe, allegedly in his house.
You know,
It kind of makes sense that he was working for intelligence, right? I mean, he did work for one of America's largest defense contractors, Lockheed Martin. It honestly makes sense. So, honestly, I don't know what else to tell you guys. I'd like to hear your thoughts. I'm reading the comments here, but I mean, it can't get any more obvious, right? shot at fuel tanks at the McCarran private airport. Yeah, Patsy. Yeah, it's a total lie. It's a total lie. I've honestly never seen something this obvious where I'm going to give the American people the benefit of the doubt here. I think 90+% of us actually just know we're boldly being lied to. Boldly being lied to. They expect us to believe that there is no motive here. It is an absolute joke. Also mentioned to follow me on Twitter, guys, at AMTV Media, because I'm documenting all this information, all my critical thoughts, all my findings. I mentioned yesterday, notice how the mainstream media is failing to talk about the fact that this guy was a compulsive, heavy, addicted business gambler. You know, hey, instead of gun control, which is the convenient agenda that they're pushing, right? It's a convenient agenda. Makes you think this is staged, makes you think it's a false flag, makes you think it's a government cover-up. Maybe we should shut down all casinos immediately, because after all, this guy liked to gamble, and maybe there's a problem with gambling in Las Vegas and casinos and placing bets and these kinds of things, but you'll never hear that narrative. You'll never hear that narrative. They won't even talk.
Records on records, got backers on backers, I'm riding around in a coupe. I take your we got 30s and 100 rounds too. My bitch is bad and bullshit, bad. Cooking up dope with a Uzi. My niggas is savage, ruthless. We got 30s and 100 rounds too. Niggas is savage, ruthless. We got 30s and 100 rounds too. My bitch is bad and bullshit, bad. Cooking up dope with a Uzi. My niggas is savage, ruthless. We got 30s and 100 rounds too. All set. Woo, 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 woo. Records on records, got backers on backers, I'm riding around in a coupe. I take your bitch right from you. Bitch, I'm a dog. Beat down her walls, loose. Hop in the fall, woo. Beat down her walls, loose. Hop in the fall, woo. I tell that bitch to come for me. I swear these niggas is under me. The hate and the devil keep jumping me. Bank rolls on me, keep me company. Hey, we do the most, yeah. Pull up and goes. Oh, woo. I tell that bitch to come for me. I swear these niggas is under me. The hate and the devil keep jumping me. Bank rolls on me, keep me company. Hey, we do the most, yeah. Pull up and goes. For me. I swear these niggas is under me. The hate and the devil keep jumping me. Bank rolls on me, keep me company. Cry me a river, give you a tissue. Bad. Drop top, smoking, no cooking, the hot box. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that.
Because again, the narrative is take away your.
Call up the gang and they come and get gang. Cry me a river, give you a tissue. Bad and bullshit, bad. Cooking up dope with a Uzi. My niggas is savage, ruthless. We got 30s and 100 rounds too. My bitch is bad and bullshit, bad. Cooking up dope with a Uzi. My niggas is savage, ruthless. We got 30s and 100 rounds too.